Nightfire Ox here, and today we will be talking about It Takes Two. Is the game really all that it's cracked up to be? I guess we're gonna find out.
Hey, honey, can I just...
It Takes Two is centered around a couple on the verge of divorce. Upon letting their daughter Rose know of their intentions to split up, Rose makes a wish while crying over two dolls that her parents will always be together. May and Cody end up turning into dolls and then start a journey of working together to get back to their real bodies. Gabe, I think you lost a few feet there.
Oh no.
Oh no! The game is a co-op platformer adventure, so naturally you start the game off by needing to choose a character. At first I thought this was a really simple choice, until I got into the game. Your playable characters are May, an engineer who is devoted to her job and the family's breadwinner, and Cody, a stay-at-home father who cares a lot for his daughter, even if the game initially makes you think otherwise. I chose to play as May, and from the get-go, I could tell that this was not going to be an ordinary game. Each level you get new weapons or tools to help you along your journey. However, depending on who you choose to play depends on what items you get. And even though all the weapons or tools in the game are different from the last, they all are cooperative with each other. You have to depend on your partner to help you through the game. Where's the now? Oh, there it is. Okay. The game is breathtakingly beautiful. There are 7 chapters to the game, and each level is entirely different from the last. The levels are so interactive that I could not stop myself from playing with items that I found. Even if they had nothing to do with the goal of the levels had so much to explore that there is a lot to miss if you just ignored the levels and moved on through the game. It is definitely a game where you have to just stop and appreciate the level design. You could tell that this game was a precious baby to the developers, and no stone was left unturned. The one thing that I kept saying through my playthrough was, wow, this reminds me of this game. When I was writing the rails, I could not help myself but to think of Sonic Heroes, or how flying through space reminded me of Mario Galaxy. Each time it reminded me of a game from my childhood. It would leave me with this sense of nostalgia. It was a completely new game, but it also felt so familiar and loving.
Oh yay, the tree! That sounds like an amazing idea. I'm sure nothing could possibly go wrong by climbing a tree.
The game keeps you on your toes at times. Just when you've had enough of one tool, you move on to the next. Just when you feel that the platformer is becoming a little redundant, you're facing a squirrel in Mortal Kombat style. There is such variety, not to mention that each character has their own unique toolset, and you could spend another 10 hours playing the other character and not feel bored, because it's entirely new. You can pick this game up over and over and still have just as much fun the 100th time through.
Oh, I think we're gonna be able to swing.
One thing I was worried about when first playing the game was the split screen style the game takes. However, my fears were quickly dealt with. I found it beneficial to be able to look at my partner's screen to be able to see what he was doing at times. In some parts of the game, it was necessary. If your partner was stuck, you could easily help them find their way by looking at their perspective. And in other times, you had no choice but to look at their screen to be able to help them. It made the game feel all the more interactive and the co-op more pleasurable. I've mentioned the levels and how breathtakingly beautiful they are, but I haven't mentioned the minigames. The game gives you reasons to explore it. Not only was it fun to just explore the levels and find interactive things to do, but my heart would pound a little bit quicker when I heard the sound of a tambourine, that tambourine being the clue to let you know that a minigame was nearby. I felt like a kid on Christmas Day, hunting down the minigames, and not only were the minigames fun, but they had a range of difficulty. There is a minigame for everyone, from shooting targets to tug of war. All you have to do is look. And I have to talk a little bit about the dialogue here. One of my favorite features of It Takes Two is the dialogue. The characters feel alive. May and Cody are both individuals with their own outlook on life. As the game went on, there were times I was so in sync with May, we could even say the same things to Cody's dialogue, or my friend would say the same things as Cody. It would have us busting up laughing. May and Cody were not only funny, but relatable. And it never stopped surprising me when I would blurt out a line at the same time as May. I couldn't get over how real the characters felt. The dialogue brings this story to life in more ways than one.
I guess I need a dash.
Yeah, lots of dashing.
You're a clayman with a rope.
Yeah!
Now moving forward, I will be talking about major spoilers of the game. So if you have not played the game, do not go further. This is your warning. I will give you a few seconds to leave. Okay, if you're still here, you asked for it.
Dad?
Uh-oh.
Dad, I have to tell you something. It's important. Have you heard of this book by Dr.
One of the critiques I have of the game were the cutscenes. And I think it has to do more with how great the gameplay was, that the cutscenes felt lacking or at times wonky. The first initial cutscenes are really good. They set the story up, and watching Rose's reactions to her parents telling her they were divorcing had myself feeling emotional. But some scenes just felt weird to me. Mainly the scenes with Rose talking to her parents while they were asleep. These scenes were just so weird to me. They felt almost unrealistic. I mean, if I was speaking to my father and he just ignored me as a kid, I would think something was wrong, not, oh, you don't want to talk to me about it. In fact, any scenes with Rose outside the first few scenes just felt a bit forced to me. It felt more like, we need to have this character a part of the story because she's important to the main characters. But then they don't give her the same treatment as the main characters. In fact, I had a serious problem with a huge part of the story where May and Cody kill Cutie, their daughter's favorite stuffed animal. After they succeed, Rose cries for that scene and it progresses the story along, but that's it. There's no repercussion afterwards. It's never brought up again. She looks happy. Well, not happy. Her parents are still getting divorced. But she doesn't care about that stuffed animal that's apparently her favorite thing in the whole world. The next scene, she seems completely unaware of it anymore. It makes the whole section of the game feel pointless. I remember even saying that during my walkthrough, that what was the point of that? Why did we kill that stuffed animal if there's no logical reason behind it? Sure, they felt that was how they got back to normal, but it has no effect. Rose, in comparison to the other characters of the game, who were so well made, feels empty. The other major problem I had with the game was the ending. The game leaves enough clues behind to guess where the story is going. Rose leaving a letter behind, Rose being seen with her backpack, but when you finally get to the conclusion, it feels a bit rushed in my opinion. I honestly thought the game was leading to a little gameplay of us in their real bodies and going to rescue Rose, but instead, it's just a really rushed sequence of events. This little girl is about to run away from home and the game just kind of ends. Like, oh, we want this game to be happy and cute, so we're just gonna ignore the fact this kid is probably gonna need loads of therapy and pretend that everything is a-okay.
Dr. Haki!
Well,
Worldwide bestseller.
Another character I had problems with was the one and only Book of Love, Dr. Hakim. There is no point in the game where his character does not come off as cringy, and he left me wondering if he was intentionally made to be that creepy, or if it was an oversight. I did not find him funny in the least. As the game went on, each time my friend and I saw him, he became someone we laughed at rather than laughed with. Towards the end, he redeems himself a little bit. He feels a lot more like how his character was intended to be like, but still not enough to completely overcome that cringe factor. It felt like he was supposed to be this character that cared about the couple and wanted to help them work through their problems, when instead he came off as this really egotistical know-it-all who could fix the relationship with a snap of his fingers. The other thing I want to mention about the game is the theme. The overall theme of the game is about two people on the verge of divorce finding their way again and falling back in love with one another. It's a very sweet look on marriage, however, it's simplistic at best. It feels like the game ignores the fact that some marriages are just not meant to be. I think if the game would have at least mentioned that May and Cody have a relationship worth fixing, rather than beating around the bush, it would have made the game that much better. Overall, the co-op is phenomenally done. While bits and pieces of the story could have been better, the gameplay and its ability to keep itself feeling fresh more than makes up for the story in its most lackluster moments. The music in this game brings back both a nostalgic feel to it, while making the game feel like I just started up for the first time all over. And the dialogue between Cody and May were some of the best moments in the game by far. The sound made the characters of May and Cody feel alive. The game is beautifully breathtaking, and it will make you stop just to enjoy the scenery. The backgrounds are constantly moving and doing something which makes the game feel even bigger. It is one of the most polished games I've seen in a long while. In an age where big game developers will have you spend $60 to $80 for an unfinished game, this one feels like it was a baby being carefully nurtured.
Do you really think I'm choosing to be away from home?
But I should mention as well that this only needs one person to purchase it in order to play. Their Game Pass system is something that I find very welcoming. It feels like they care about their players. They want people to be able to enjoy their game rather than the money component. That's not even mentioning that the game is only $40 when compared to other games on the market right now that are not nearly as polished as this one. I get that you need a second person to play the game, which may have an effect on why the price is cheaper, but still, the game is so well polished that I think they could have asked more and gotten it, but they didn't, and that just makes me more impressed with them. The game definitely has a few missteps, but overall it is a great game with amazing co-op and beautifully done levels. I would give this game a 9 out of 10. If you're thinking about playing It Takes Two, I definitely would, but for all the critiques I have about the game, there are several more good things to go on about, and the price makes the game well worth it. Thank you so much for listening. I'm Nightfire Ox, and I hope to see you all next time.